Ms. Cuyler, you've brought your mother to court in hopes of finally finding out which of the two men in these photographs is your biological father. You claim it's been a lifelong mystery, and you hope it will end today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Mills, you argue that you're certain you know which of these two cousins is your daughter's father, but you say her doubts have torn the entire family apart.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Cuyler, tell the court, how did your doubts begin?
My doubts began as a child, around 5 years old. My mother telling me that Mr. Barrows was my father. He lived right upstairs from us, but he had another family. He would not acknowledge me. I did grow up with a stepfather up until age 10, but I just knew that the man upstairs, my mother told me Mr. Barrows was my father.
And you see him almost every day?
Every day.
And he never acknowledges you?
Right.
Wow.
Also, when I was younger, there was an incident of his girlfriend going back to her children, his nieces and nephews, saying that, oh, that's not her father. She said that, and they came back and told me, oh, Eric's not your dad. So I was very upset about that, so I ran and took my best friend to my mom's room. And I remember she had court documents about the DNA testing between Mr. Barrows and my mother and myself. So I showed that to my best friend. I was like, look, he is my father.
Wow.
Also, I remember him taking me to the corner store when I was a little girl. He said, I wanted you to take a walk with me, and he told me, I don't know if I'm your father or not, so that put doubt in my head.
He said, I don't know if I'm your father or not.
He doesn't know.
And what other involvement did you have with him?
He paid child support.
He paid child support?
He paid child support, yeah.
For your entire life?
My entire life.
Ms. Mills?
Yes.
So you told your daughter, the man upstairs, that's your biological father?
Yeah, I told her because we moved into an area where her dad's family was living at. So I knew when we moved down there around her grandmother, her aunts and them, that she was going to run into her dad because I was always accepted by his mother and his siblings.
So when you say her dad, you mean Mr. Barrows?
Yes.
You were accepted by his family?
Yes.
But he never acknowledged her?
No.
I was accepted by his family as well, but just not him.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Why is that? He was paying the support.
When I had Lori, me and Mr. Barrows were together, and he had an affair on me when she was like a few months old. So I got angry at him, threw him out my house, saying, I want nothing to do with you, and I took him to court for child support. When we went to court, he had a choice to take the test or not take the test. The judge told him that. The judge looked at my daughter, looked at me, looked at him, and the judge says, from what I'm seeing right here with this baby, this child looks exactly like you. So either you're gonna pay for the test or not. Either way, if you don't, we're gonna grant her child support, which the judge did grant me child support because he never took the test.
Your Honor, I actually went down to the courthouse earlier this year. I wanted to see if there was proof if there was a test done. And they told me I couldn't see the file because it was sealed. The only person who could see it was Mr. Barrows or my mother. When I told my mother that, she went back and told my sister, why is she doing this? Why is she bringing this up? He's dead, she needs to let it go. Like, how can I let something like this go? I don't even know who my father is.
Well, why did you wait till he died to want to do this?
Why did you wait until I'm 30 years old and never get it done?
Excuse me, y'all ain't gotta clap. Y'all ain't gotta clap.
You lied. Mom, you've lied. You gotta complain.
Lori, you
You're
know
a liar.
what?
You didn't have a relationship with him. You had relations with him. You're a liar, Mom. Come on. He didn't live with us.
I didn't say he lived with you.
You said you had a relationship. You kicked him out. My sister said he never even lived with us.
How would Jenny know?
She
was born in
remembers
82.
everything.
She was born in 84.
She remembers
was 2 years
everything.
old.
She remembers everything.
Okay.
So, Ms. Mills, when you tell your daughter, the man upstairs is your father, and she knew he was paying child support for at least a part of her life, was there any other man that could potentially be her father, or you knew for certain he was her father?
I knew for certain he was her father.
It's hard for me to believe her story when there were doubts and questions about who all of our fathers were, so.
How was that? How do you know?
Hello, I talked to his family.
Who family?
Mr. Barrows' family.
How would they know?
Because you hang with them. They were your best friends.
They were not my best friend.
They lived with you.
I just need to get a basic understanding. If he was paying child support, why was there no involvement in her life at all and he was right upstairs?
That's his doing. It had nothing to do with me.
Well, wait,
My
actually
boyfriend-
it does. If you made the child with him, it has something to do with you. And that's why I'm asking you, why would a man live upstairs from a beautiful little girl, pay child support, but never acknowledge her? And if he was here, I would ask him, but I can't. So I need to ask you. You say the family acknowledged you, the family even acknowledged her. Why not him?
Because I took him to court for child support. He was angry about that. He didn't want them to attach his check. He didn't want to pay child support for her.
You feel like he was angry at you for taking him to court for the child support?
Yes.
Now I'm starting to understand part of the story. Miss Cuyler, you also were close with his daughter. He had a daughter living right upstairs. Now, did you two acknowledge each other as sisters?
Not at that point, no. She didn't want to accept that he might have had another child. When I was a teenager, we actually saw each other again, and since then, we've really claimed each other as sisters.
You have. So, Jerome, I'd like to meet this young woman. Please escort Miss Gonzales into the courtroom. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
Hey, ma'am. I'm going to have you come up here and sit right next to the judge of the witness stand. Just go.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Please state your name for the court.
Chastity Gonzales.
Miss Gonzales, you are Mr. Barrow's biological daughter.
Yes.
When you see this young woman, do you regard her as your sister or an acquaintance?
She's my sister. My father paid child support for her for 19 years. She's my sister.
And you remember her? Mm-hmm. And growing up, what did he tell you about Miss Cuyler?
I mean, I started hearing rumors when I was about 6 that I had a potential sister because we lived in the same complex. You know, I was kind of jealous in the beginning because I was his only daughter. So I approached him about it, and he said it wasn't true. He always said it wasn't. He wasn't the father.
Always told you?
Always.
Up until the time of his death, he said, this was not my child.
Yep.
And yet you knew he was paying child support for her?
Mm-hmm. I actually brought that up to him again when we ran into each other again, our teenage years. And I said, wait a second, but you're paying child support for a child that's not yours. I mean, that's kind of confusing, you know? And he's like, well, you know, I don't want you to open up a can of worms because, you know, it's going to come out that I'm not the father, and her mother's going to have to pay all that money back.
Your Honor, that's another reason why I think my mother wanted me to keep this hush-hush. I think she was happy that he passed away, with me not knowing that he was my father or not. That if he was not the father, maybe that she had to pay that money back, so maybe she might be relieved that he's gone.
Mm-hmm. I can't really speak about their relationship because I wasn't there, but I knew that in the neighborhood, Miss Mills was very promiscuous and she had been around with a lot of people. So I didn't know.
So maybe your father wasn't being honest with you?
I did feel like my father wasn't being honest, so that's why it's 50-50 that we feel like maybe we might be sisters or we might not be, because I feel like the people that's responsible in this whole situation is the adults, because I don't think that this should have went this long.
Do you have any evidence to share with the court?
Well, the reason I do think, you know, she might be my sister is because, you know, my whole family, we all have psoriasis. My father has psoriasis. You know, we get it all spots, all different kind of spots.
And Miss Cuyler, do you also have psoriasis? You do?
I went to the doctor. She said it was just a skin virus.
So when you hear about Miss Cuyler also contending with some type of skin thing, you like, that rings a bell to me.
It did.
What else do you have in terms of evidence in the court?
I don't know. I think that, you know, Miss Cuyler and my father, I think they have the same eyes. I think that we have the same eye shape.
What else do you have, ma'am?
I also have his obituary, and her name is not listed on the obituary.
They did not list Miss Cuyler as a child that he left behind.
That hurt a lot.
No.
Even at the funeral, I felt some type of resentment from his other kids, like, we're his kids and she's not. I just felt that way.
I mean, that had to feel awful.
I just been told different stories from his sister that my mother was sleeping with his cousin. That's why he had doubts. So that's why I still have doubts. I don't know.
Did you ask your mom?
Earlier this year, I asked her, I said, why did Mr. Barrows have doubts? And she said she did sleep with someone prior to him. And I asked her, what's his name? And she told me Esteban Tirado. I'm like, Esteban Tirado? Like, and she was best friends with his wife. She slept with him. I don't understand. It was just so confusing. It was a shocker.
I dated Esteban when I was a teenager. Me and his two sisters stayed best friends even after me and him broke up. His mother, his whole family. We all stayed friends. His kid's mother knew I had nothing to do with him. I knew I didn't have nothing to do with him, and there is no way in hell that he's her father. Come on.
You say there's no way.
No way.
But Ms. Cuyler, in your mind, you feel like Mr. Tirado is a possibility because of the stories you've been told.
Correct.
Stories from other people. She believes everybody except for me, and I'm her mother. And I'm like,
because her stories are not valid.
Unfortunately, Mr. Tirado is deceased, but his daughter is here. Jerome, will you please escort Ms. Tirado into the courtroom, and Ms. Gonzales, you may have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know, I can see it's just breaking you down. So you feel like when you look at this picture, you see more of your face.
He has a long face. I have a long face. I really don't know.
Hi, Ms. Tirado. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today. You are Mr. Tirado's daughter.
Yes.
Biological daughter.
Yes.
You grew up knowing Ms. Mills.
Mills as my aunt.
She was your aunt.
Yes, her and my aunt was best of friends. My mom, my dad, everybody all grew up as brothers and sisters. I can't, because if I was in her position, I would want to know who my dad is too. But I am so upset that Mrs. Mills, my dad, my mom, my aunt, everyone grew up as sisters. We're all in our 30s. It should have not taken to this point. That's what I'm saying.
Ms. Mills, you contend you didn't sleep with Mr. Tirado.
Not since we were teenagers.
So you're saying you did sleep with him, but
Well,
it
how you
wasn't
gonna sleep
during
with your own family as teenagers?
Not my family.
But you grew up knowing us, as telling us we're family. I don't understand that, Miss Mills. Why would you do
I grew
this?
up as cousins, but that was before you was born, any of you was conceived. He treated my kids as his nieces and nephews, and I treated his kids the same way. When I dated your father, we were teenagers. Because we had a past relationship, that don't mean we couldn't be friends.
Like, why y'all didn't resolve this a long time ago? Why is it that he's going 14 years and Mr. Barrows is going I don't know how many years now, and we're all, wasn't this resolved a long time
This
ago?
wasn't supposed to be us doing this. This supposed to be y'all doing
all
this.
actuality, I should not have found this out on Facebook. My family neither.
What do you have here?
I have something that was posted on Facebook. Mrs. Gonzales inboxed me on Facebook. But not only that,
I did. You're right.
Someone else in the family put a post on Facebook.
I don't know who else in the family. I don't know who else in the family put something up.
I get an inbox from her.
I inboxed you because I didn't know what other way to get in contact with you. That's why I'm trying to help her. You're right. But she wasn't able to do it. I'm trying to help her.
Ladies, I think it's time to get the results.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Cuyler v. Mills, Gonzales, Tirado, Mrs. Cuyler, your 29-year wait is over. The deceased, Mr. Barrows, was not your biological father. Okay, honey, you need to sit down before I go to the next envelope.
You said Mr. Barrows was not my father?
No, ma'am, he is not. Are you ready for the next result?
Ready.
Okay. In light of this result, I'd like to adjourn court right now, and I'd like to review them with you in my chambers. Court is adjourned. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. Ladies, I wanted to meet you in my chambers to go over this next set of results because, quite frankly, this is the first time this has ever happened, and I know how emotional this is for both of you. The results for this particular testing between you, Ms. Tirado, and yourself, Ms. Cuyler, the results were inconclusive, and they need to do more reconstructive work to be able to identify whether or not you all share a biological father. And just so you understand this, I have a statement from Dr. Baird from DNA Diagnostics that will help you. He's the chief science officer there. Please look right over here.
Regarding the siblingship analysis between Ms. Cuyler and Ms. Tirado, our laboratory is still working to determine results. When DNA testing is done to determine a biological relationship, sometimes it takes a long period of time to determine whether or not there is a biological relationship, and it requires additional testing or extended testing. DDC wants both Ms. Cuyler and Ms. Tirado to know that we will do everything that we can to determine if there is a biological relationship and do whatever it takes to get the results scientifically.
So it just means that it's going to take longer?
Yes. And the court will be in touch with you as soon as we have those answers. I just want you to know I understand how difficult this is, and I'm so proud of you. You're a brave young lady. Mr. Adle, you are here today to prove Ms. Jones committed paternity fraud. You claim Ms. Jones duped you into signing her daughter's birth certificate only to find out after her child was born that she cheated prior to getting pregnant. You say she broke the terms of your relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jones, you admit to cheating, but say you are 100% positive Mr. Adle is the biological father of your 2-month-old daughter, Jessela.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Adle, what do you mean she broke the terms of the relationship?
Your Honor, we have certain rules. We're swingers, you know, and
Okay.
and she went outside of the relationship. She cheated on me, and now she's trying to pin the baby on me.
So wait, you have swinger rules.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the rules? What are the terms?
The rules are you don't go outside of the relationship and have sexual relations with anyone outside of the relationship unless the other one is present.
Okay.
So,
Is there an agreement that you always use protection?
Yes, ma'am. Every single time you use protection, you got to protect yourself. You don't know what's out there, you know?
Right.
She went against...
that's a lie. I used a condom.
You broke the rules because you had sex with someone outside of the relationship, but you say you did use protection.
Yes.
So just one rule broken.
Yes. He cheated too, though. I did it out of spite.
You did it out of spite. You
Yeah.
feel like he cheated.
Your Honor, she swears to God I cheated, and I don't cheat.
Oh, there was a picture in my bed with someone else.
A picture of Mr. Adle in the bed with somebody else, your bed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why you cheated, because you saw that picture, so then you went out and did it.
Absolutely.
Now we know 2 wrongs never make a right. It just makes drama. Right?
Yes.
So, Mr. Adle, how did you two meet?
We met, it was a little get-together, you know, between a friend of mine and a family member of hers. We ended up hooking up that night after some drinks.
And so at that point, did she know you were a swinger, or who was the swinger?
No,
how did this start?
I was the swinger. I had previous experience. I had relations with a few couples previous to our relationship after we made it official. I had talked her into it. Took a lot of convincing.
At first, I thought he was crazy. Why would you want to sleep with somebody else other than your loved one?
Because
That's
it's
what
exciting.
I'm thinking.
It's exciting.
But I gave it a chance because I loved him.
So the first time you all have this threesome, what happens? I mean, I know what happens, I guess, but I really don't. But I don't know if I want to know. Who finds the people? How does that start?
Well, the way we did it was we put an ad out online.
An ad online?
Yes.
What would an ad like this say?
Couple.
Go ahead, you know what it says. You know you wrote it.
It would say.
He's trying to act like now he don't know quite how to phrase it. You know what they say. What does it say?
The title would say couple looking to spice things up. Or couple looking for a woman or a couple looking for a man.
Okay, so were you all looking for a man or a woman?
At that point, we were looking for a man.
Oh, a man?
Yes.
Oh, so, okay.
Because she wouldn't let me have sex with a woman. So I had to compromise, you know, and it's not a big deal to me. It's all the same. Sex is sex, and it's all exciting. You know, so I mean, it was.
I'm not quite there yet on that testimony, but I'm gonna keep listing. So, Ms. Jones, you agreed to have another man come into your bedroom.
Honestly, I was hoping that he would stop it before it got that far, that he wouldn't really want another man to have intercourse with me.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point too. I want to understand this. If you love somebody, how do you bring yourself to want to see somebody else have sex with them? Sorry, I've taken this way too far. But I truly want to know, what is it?
My thought process was to introduce something that she may be interested in. You know, something, you know, she didn't want me to have sex with another woman because of jealousy issues or whatever the case may be. So I said, all right, well, maybe she wants a man. So I'm thinking she's into it. It wasn't until 2 days later where she told me she didn't like it.
All right, so tell me what happened. The man answers the ad, and do you vet them at all? I mean, you just say they answered the ad and now you can come over? How does that work?
By talking to someone through text message or email, I can tell whether they're intelligent or they're a bird brain. You know, so
so for something like this, do you want someone intelligent or a bird brain? I don't know which one works better.
I would like someone to be intelligent, yeah.
Oh, you want them to be smart?
Yes.
Just someone interested in having a good time as well.
Exactly.
So what happens the night that this happens? If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
The night that happened, you know, we invited the gentleman over. We had some drinks to loosen up, you know, more for her case because she hadn't had no.
So how does this work? They just ring the doorbell and they're like, "Hi, I'm the swinger."
We had some drinks. She had told me that she was comfortable. After that, we had given her a body massage, you know. Then we took it from there. He went on her.
I asked, I guess. I didn't know I was gonna get this, but
you know, I rubbed her feet to soothe her a little bit, you know, and then after that we went from there. She went on me, you know, we were listening to some old school R&B.
Okay, I feel like the testimony now is very specific. A little. I mean, this is turning into 50 Shades of Paternity.
I'm already working on the screenplay in my head.
So the bottom line is it happened. I don't need the details in that way. It happened. And Ms. Jones, did you have intercourse with both men that night?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
All right. So is this the night that was the basis of the paternity question?
No.
No.
No, I was not present when she had sex with this man. You know, I was present when she had sex with the guy that we invited over.
I wasn't there when that other girl was
And
at
how
the
did
house.
you even find out she invited someone over?
She had told me. She came out and confessed to me that she cheated and the baby might not be mine. That hurts my feelings.
So, Ms. Jones, what happened with this other man? Why decide to have sex with this other man without Mr. Adle? Why break the rules of engagement? Why?
I felt neglected. He wasn't home. he would leave many hours of the night, sometimes even days. And when I would ask him where he would tell me it's none of my business. So I turned around and went out with one of his friends, had a couple drinks, and one thing led to the next. We used a condom, I remember. And when I told him that there may not be a possibility, I was trying to get under his skin.
But you didn't mean it.
No.
So at what point did he even find out she cheated? What point did you find this out, Mr. Adle? How did you find it out?
I found out when we had an argument. You know, she had confessed to me that she cheated. I was gone for a night. She had confessed to me the next day, and this happened just about last month. You know, and so it was all the way through the pregnancy, and and now she finally tells me.
But this was like a month ago?
Yeah, this was a month ago that all this occurred, that she had told me that she had cheated.
So Jessela was already 1 month old then?
Exactly.
So you went through this entire process without any clue that she had had sex with somebody else. You thought you had a beautiful baby, you formed a bond with the baby, everything was great until just 1 month ago you realized that this baby, 2 months old, may not be your biological child.
Yes, ma'am.
And how has that affected you all at this point?
We get along, but I distance myself. I don't want to build any more of a relationship if I'm not the father. You know, the real father needs to be in building a relationship.
You are
with
the
that
real
child.
So,
father.
Ms. Jones, what month did you have sex with the other guy?
In the middle of August.
I want to understand this. So if we look at this calendar, August is the sex month. You say that you had sex with the other man in the middle of August.
Yes.
You said you had sex with Mr. Adle when?
Throughout the whole month. Throughout the whole end
so
of
that's
the
why
month.
it's a sex
the
month.
end of the month. After that one night with his friend, we had sex every night, unprotected, all the way into September when he told me that he thought I was pregnant.
Oh, but if you look at when Jessela was born and her birth date is May 12th,
Yes.
you count back, the month of conception would be in August.
Yes.
That's when she was conceived.
Yes.
So that's right around the time you had sex with the other guy and with Mr. Adle.
I used a condom with the other guy. I am 100% sure Josh is the father of
Your Honor,
Jessela.
I learned in high school that brown eyes are the dominant gene. You know, the man that she cheated on me with has blue eyes. She has blue eyes, and the baby has blue eyes.
That don't mean nothing.
Of course,
You guys sleep the same.
we sleep the same.
Yes, and your guys' head
I
shapes
could name
are
10
the
different
same.
people who sleep the same as me.
Not
On
the-
your back with your eyes closed.
I'm
your
just
eyes
happy you
half
all
open
actually
and your
sleep.
mouth half open.
What I heard,
Look at that baby. Tell me she don't look like him. My whole family don't
precious.
even think I was involved in making her.
you can say all day, oh, it looks like he spit her out. Oh, we had a case where the person looked just like the dad, not the father. We can't go on that. We can't go on just physical resemblance alone.
Exactly.
And the stakes are high because this little beautiful, innocent little baby, she deserves to grow up knowing who her father is, and more importantly, being able to have the love, the attachment, the commitment, the consistency of having a father in her life, not someone that keeps pushing her away because he doesn't know for sure. What are your hopes for today, Mr. Adle?
If she is, I'm gonna be the man I need to be. And I'm gonna be there for her, and we're gonna start a life.
When you say start a life, do you two want to have a relationship together?
I loved her since the day I met her, you know, and I'd like to move on with her. I'd like to still be in a relationship with her, you know. And if anything, I had brought this on with the lifestyle that I brought her into, you know, and I can't blame her 100%, but I need to know if that's my baby or not.
I'm glad you can admit that. I think it's time for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Adle versus Jones, when it comes to 2-month-old Jessela Adle, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Adle, you are the father.
I told you.
Feels great.
Makes you emotional.
Yes, it does. Very emotional.
And why is that?
Because I built a relationship with a child, and I'd like to continue.
That's great.
Thank you.
Let me say this to you. Karma is very interesting. And I find it to be so on point that you would have a baby girl.
A lot of my friends have baby girls, and we always tell each other, you know, this is God paying us back for what,
Yes.
what we've
Yes,
done.
it is. And it is also not just paying you back, but giving you an opportunity to move forward in your life. The only swinging you need to be doing is at the park with your baby. No, really. I mean, because all that putting the ad in, Jerome, and interviewing them and coming over for a cocktail hour, you ain't got that much time now. You a daddy. That's just too much. So it's time to grow up so you can raise her to be the kind of young woman, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to you, Ms. Jones, because I honestly feel like you just pretty much got coaxed into trying something you just really wouldn't have tried otherwise. You ain't the first young woman, and you definitely won't be the last. But what you want to do together is to try to raise a young woman who, when she's approached with something like this, she can say, thanks, but no thanks.